guys, I am proud to be recording this right now. I am going to add a link to a much longer video, but what you're viewing is available on my site right now. But what you're viewing is the first, well, not the first, the only stable S17 Plus. Now, 17 series is a nightmare. Bitmain, you made a colossal F up, okay? We got it from here. We'll take care of your massive, depressing, wretched series. If you're new to mining, 17 series is one of the worst, maybe the worst miner ever made. It's caused countless people to stop mining altogether. If I started with the 17 series, I wouldn't be mining anymore. The firmware takes care of the factory issues from the way that the fundamental issue, the way the voltage runs through the boards. With the eFuse Protect and per line balancing, I'll show you live, for example. These are factory problems. These lines are where the voltage was coming in unbalanced. So these protections are to protect against factory issues. This is our firmware partnered with Finish. Again, there's nothing, just to very, very clarify, there's nothing wrong with those chips. This is protecting the unit when it shuts down these lines. This is a protection series to keep those rows from being damaged. If you were to run factory firmware, the unit would actually be harmed. But instead, you get to see the beautiful 0 hardware errors. Let's take a look at this one. And we have it to recheck. You know, after every few hours, it'll come back in and recheck. But this is to run the unit at a higher hash rate. We have them tuned at 80, and to increase longevity. So look at those temps. No hardware errors, and with the eFuse protection in there, the unit actually will run. It'll actually run stable, and it'll actually last. So that takes care of that. That's a big issue from factory. Now, here's the other half, the hardware. Finally, I have sourced a correction for all the hardware issues. The chipset during shipping, the heat sinks falling off. Here, for example, here's a unit. This during shipping, the heat sinks come off. That happens all the time. If the unit just slightly overheats, I mean, when I say overheat, I mean 80 degrees. Chips could fall off. Lastly, solder balls. One of the, this is probably the biggest problem. Solder balls. So half the time, if you have a T17, for example, and you have 0 ASIC, you probably just have a solder ball, which means any one of these solder joints came in between because the height between the heat sinks and the chip, because it's soldered right on, the chips are soldered right on to the heat sink. It's just the right height for these solder balls to get in there and short out the board. And I mean, honestly, guys, that happens so much. Oh my God. So this solves all of that. And lastly, if the board does need repair, if a chip goes bad, even with all this, now that you actually have the unit running the way it should have been running, just if you have a repair scanner and you put it in here and it's like, chip 27 is bad, and you know chip 27 is right here, well, it takes 30 seconds. Let me get to that. Boom, segment it, you pop that off, you repair that chip, and you put this right back on. There's no constant reflowing, which can cause, like, unless you know exactly what you're doing, even if you know exactly what you're doing, when you keep reflowing and you have to keep reusing air gun, or even if you do the hot plate, which is way better based on this series, because, well, not this, but the 17 series is the only series that Bitmain soldered the chip directly, the heatsink directly to the chip. So if you have a hot plate, I definitely recommend this. You would get the hot plate, heat it up, but just, that's our imaginary hot plate. You put your board down on the hot plate. Once it hits the temp or the amount of time that you would know it needs if you're repairing, you pull it up, and all the heat sinks stay down on the board because they melted the solder. Then you get to the chip that needs to be repaired. You repair that chip, and you literally, after it's repaired, you go right back to the hot plate and you turn it off and you wait for it to cool, and then you pick it up and all your heat sinks are back on. So doing it that method, you're gonna, it'll versus the hot gun, highly recommended. You have a lot less chance of causing, we're human, a lot less chance of accidentally heating something or causing an error you didn't mean to. But forget all that, because now it's this simple. So first of all, instead of having to read every freaking, say you quarterly check your equipment, or you send the tech up quarterly, instead of having to replace boards all the time, your failure rate's gonna absolutely, I can't even explain how much less. Again, this is the way the units should have always been. But it's, we finally got there, guys. We finally have, and I have T17 Plus and T17 hashboard reworked, remastered, redesigned, freaking sorted out, fixed, going to be available as well in the coming weeks. These are available now. This is the S17 Plus. Guys, this is the real deal. I'm very pleased with it. It's one of the best things. If you've had such a hard time with the 17 series like I have, and you just kind of gave up on it, treat yourself and pick up one of these, so at least you can experience what you should have had with those units. It really does fix all those issues, and just, if you do ever need a chip to be replaced, getting to that chip and repairing it is so much quicker, and so pain-free now. It's just everything about this unit is the way, it's the unit we always wanted. Guys, check this. You're watching in real time. There's no errors whatsoever. The temps are perfect. I've only had these running for a month now, so I'll keep updated with the units as they progress. Here, let's go into the system so you can see no errors at all. It's just initializing. Boom, the chipset right there, the way it should always have been. You don't see any, temp issue, blah, 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 like temp sensor bad. You don't see any of that stuff. It's just a it's just a stable unit issue free. No, like, boom, finds the chips, starts working the way it should have been. It's just if I keep rambling on, it's just, you would understand if you guys are real miners and you've been through the 17 series, you know why this is so soothing for me. It's just amazing to have the unit that I've always wanted. And again, guys, I know that this is why the unit lasts longer. This is not an issue. This is protection. It shuts the chain down if the voltage comes in wrong. And then I have it to check. I'll change this time. You know, this is no problem. 84 terahash. Yeah. I would never overclock these. But there's no problem now. It's just guys, it's just so wonderful to have the unit. The unit I always wanted. Here, let's go. Right. Yeah, we'll reset the profile. Why wouldn't we? Alright, well, with that said, I will do a longer video, but the 17 series mastered, available now. Guys, I am very happy to provide these, and let me know if you have any questions or need to see anything else. I will include a longer video coming up.